power tools. Just to introduce myself, my name is Emily Gruen, and I'm an assistant editor at Hardware Retailing Magazine in NRHA. There's my contact information if you have any questions or comments at the end of the webinar. This webinar is sponsored by NRHA, our vendor partners in Hardware Retailing Magazine. You can get more information about our vendor partners at nrha.org. Two panelists we have today will be Sean Stoner. He's the Tool Department Supervisor for Paul B. Hardware in Lititz, Pennsylvania. And our other panelist is Tom Tatro. He's the Tool Department Manager at Keim Lumber in Charm, Ohio. Some of the research we did regarding the hand and power tool department shed some light on the consumers that we have today. Fewer people are planning to defer home improvement purchases, and that's declined by 10 points year over year during the 3 months ending of last month in October. Most noticeably among younger consumers, they are not deferring home improvement purchases. Fewer people have also deferred purchases over the past year. However, when it comes to older consumers, they're tending to still put off their home improvement purchases. According to MPD's Beyond the Boomers report, younger consumers have more opportunity in the hand tools market because they tend to own fewer items, so they have more of an opportunity to purchase. These same younger consumers are less likely to focus on brands, but more about price and convenience. We've also done some research, and it seems like across the board, most consumers are looking for price and convenience when it comes to retailers in their hand tool shopping. We have a few statistics about the dollar sales over the past year when it comes to hand tools. Basically, what we found overall is that although consumers are making fewer purchases when it comes to hand and power tools, they will be willing to spend a little bit more money to make sure that they don't have to come back again and they're buying the right tool. So let's turn it over to our panelists. We'll start with you, Sean, if you could tell us a little bit about your hand and power tool department.
Okay, well, thank you. It's good to be here with you today. And yes, our hand and power tool departments are made up of about 6,200 square feet, and our customer base is split between do-it-yourselfers and contractors, industrial, farmers. It's about a 35% do-it-yourselfers, 65% everybody else. Contractors is probably about 40 to 50% in the power tools there, I would say. That would be a little bit about our store here. Started in 1947 is when the business began, but we built a new store here in about 1994, I think it was. And the power tool portion of our tool department would probably be about a quarter to a third of the 6,200 square feet.
Okay. And Tom, if you would like to tell us a little bit about Keim Lumber.
Okay. Keim Lumber, our store, is about to have its 100th anniversary, so we're 100 years old. In 2011, our retail floor is about 120,000 square feet. Our tool department takes up about 20,000 square feet of that. And our customer base is, we're in a heavily Amish-populated area. We've got a heavy concentration of commercial shops around us, woodworking shops, furniture manufacturers, cabinet manufacturers, and then also the construction industry around here hasn't suffered quite as bad as it has in some parts of the country, so we're very fortunate there. And then the do-it-yourself weekend warriors, as we like to call them.
Okay. Well, great. Well, we'll get started in talking about merchandising because everybody wants to learn some more tips on how to efficiently merchandise their store. So, Tom, can you talk a little bit about how you merchandise your hand and power tool department?
We like to kind of keep it moving. We try not to put it on roller skates, but we have a fairly large center aisle that we like to rotate different items in and out of the center aisle. Seems to really help. Our end caps are there, but they're not as efficient as most end caps are because they're more like a piece of furniture than a typical end cap would be. So we really like to merchandise our aisles, our center aisles, especially the ones right in front of the tool counter.
Okay. And I know when we had talked about for the article for hardware retail, and you mentioned that through your store's expansion, you added a rental room. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We have what we commonly refer to as a service center. We are authorized service for most of the main brands that we sell. As part of that service center, we've expanded our rental area this winter. Even though our new showroom is only about 3 years old, this winter we will be expanding it and including a room with rentals that customers can actually walk through, see what the rentals are, touch and feel them. And up until now, we've had them in one of the center aisles. We're basically trying to get them out of the center aisles and into a room of their own.
And how have you seen that change consumers' attitudes toward the rentals and to trying out tools?
Well, our rentals year to date are up about 146% over last year, which was up about 150% over the year before. So
okay, so big difference there.
We've seen a dramatic increase in our rentals.
Okay. Sean, could you please tell me how you guys merchandise your department?
Sure. Tools is a fairly large section of our store here, so as soon as you come in the front doors of the store, tools are on either side of the aisle there, about one aisle to your right and 3 to 4 aisles to your left. Straight ahead is the tool department. So immediately as you come in the front door, Makita is our main seller of power tool, and so that end cap there, as soon as you come in the front door, greets you right away with Makita. And then right beside that is an end cap with our monthly specials. This includes specials for the whole store, but also would have a large portion usually of hand tools and sometimes power tools as well. So that would switch every month. And we are in the process of trying to get to rotate our end caps a bit more. We haven't been as efficient at that as we should. As far as how we organize our tools, we group them. It has been suggested that it's a good idea to group them sometimes by job type, but we have grouped them, to this point anyway, by models, for example, all the circular saws together and grinders and so forth, although we are considering changing that as well. And we are quite cramped for space here in our store, so whenever we get new items, it takes creativity to try to find out where to put them in. But and in one of the things that we like to do as far as merchandising is in our monthly flyer, we like to make sure that we have the aisle numbers published as well, so people know where to find what they're looking for when they come in the store. Okay.
Talking about your monthly flyer, our next question is how do you promote these departments? So can you talk about a little bit about your advertising with the monthly flyer, and I know you also do some promotional sales?
Sure. A couple years ago, I'm thinking probably about 3 years ago, we began a marketing department here within our company, and that's comprised of 3 people, I believe. And every month we print a flyer. That flyer goes out to approximately 50,000 customers, although here in November we had plans to double that. And also we have some various sales throughout the year to promote some of these things. One is specifically devoted to tools, one of those sales. It was held this year in June. It was our 3rd annual spring tool sale, and companies such as DeWalt and Milwaukee and so forth, and Makita and factory reps are here. That's a one-day, usually like a 6-hour sale. We have some free food with that. Our biggest event of the year is a year-end sale between the week between Christmas and New Year. Everything in the store is 10% off with cash or check, or 8% with credit card, and this is by far the busiest and biggest event of the year. But something that we found is that there were contractors and others who did not come that week. They did not come because they didn't like to fight the crowds. So what we offered this year is that for nails and power tools, we offered to our contractors through a mailer and also through our tool department on-road salesmen, we offered a special to them that they could put in a pre-year-end sale order for nails and power tools, so they could get those discounts without needing to come shopping that busy week. And that way, they need to pick it up by December 15th, and allows us to make sure that we can pre-order the product, make sure they have what they need, and they don't have to fight the crowd. So that's been working out very well for us. And lastly, we also have an annual tent sale in August each year with barrel train rides for the children and hot dogs and drinks and so on. And that tent sale is more focused towards, yes, we have good things on sale. We also have closeouts, things that weren't selling so well and so on, which helps us out with our inventory reduction.
All right, and when it comes to these events, how do you get the word out to draw in the biggest crowds?
Okay. Well, with our annual year-end sale, that's been going on. I'm actually not sure how many years that's been going on. So a lot of that people simply know that. However, yes, it is published in our monthly circular. For example, here in our December circular, which will go out in a couple weeks here, there is a little corner of that which will be a reminder for our annual 10% sale. And then a week or two after that, they'll send another flyer, which will be sent out to customers. And also, there's a Lancaster Farming newspaper that many people are familiar with. There's an insert in there as well. So, it's published is the main way that we do that.
All right, so it sounds like you have quite a few different avenues with how you get the word out to your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, I know we had discussed that Keim Lumber has newspaper advertising, and you also have delivery. Could you talk a little bit about those promotions?
Yeah, we have 3 major sales here a year. In the spring is our annual anniversary sale. We have customers coming from 7, 8, 10 states that know about that sale, either via email or they've been here in the past. We have an annual Charm Day sale in the fall, which the whole town of Charm, every business in town has some type of a sale. Again, draws in an extremely large crowd from different states. We have an inventory sale every fall, which that's usually when the contractors will jump in. That's usually a pretty deep discount, so that'll really attract the contractors. As far as sales go, we also participate in a thing called Buckeye Tool Expo. We take a piece of our Keim Lumber tool department and move it to a different location for a few days. It draws in a pretty large crowd. There's also a 2-day auction that goes with that. So the crowd is pretty good size. We'll do quite a large amount of business in 2 days at that event. That's about it on that.
Okay, I know you had mentioned that you host ladies' nights. Could you talk a little bit about that?
We've had it 2 years now. It's going to be an annual event, I guess. The first year we planned on having it. Last year we were hoping for, I think, 150 or 200 ladies to show up, and we're pleasantly surprised with about 600 of them. Kind of informed them they needed to check their husbands at the door, which we sent them down the street to the sporting goods store. The event went over extremely well. This year we brought in some of the reps. A lot of our vendors participated in the event, made it a pretty good success. We feed the ladies, of course. We have sponsors for the night, something to eat. It's just a good time for the ladies to do a little bit of hands-on stuff. We let them touch and feel the tools, and if they want to turn a pen, for instance, we let them get on the lathe and turn a pen.
Okay, now do you reach out to the vendors to participate in these events?
We do. We have great vendor support from most of the manufacturers that we deal with. A good example is Buckeye Tool Expo. It's a smaller type venue than we can do here at the store, so Milwaukee will be joining us there. We did 6 county fairs this year in Ohio, which DeWalt participated in that, so DeWalt was with us for all those. And then here at the store, we average probably 15 to 20 reps at each sale.
Okay, great. Well, moving on to our next issue, if you guys could elaborate a little bit with me, what products have been selling well in these departments? We can start with Sean.
Okay. Sure. Well, one product that came to mind pretty quickly, which has been selling well for the last 2 to 3 years for us are fine tools, and lately the competitors' knockoffs too that have been coming out in the past year and a half. But definitely that is a good selling tool. I definitely recommend that tool, fine tools, the Multimaster. Reconditioned air compressors, reconditioned tools have been doing fairly well for us, for price-conscious customers right now in this economy. And also cordless tools have been a large part of our market, and they continue to be part of the definitely our largest market here in the store.
All right, Tom, have you noticed the same trends, or do you have other products that have been selling and are pretty popular at Keim Lumber?
Sean's pretty close to it. What we had to refocus here a little bit in the last 3 years. We were pretty concentrated on the commercial shops around us, and decided that we need to diversify a little bit. So we've kind of have a line now that we feel will get from A to Z. We stock all the big planers and joiners and shapers, and then we've gone to some of the more homeowner-friendly price point type stuff where it's a combination unit from Jet or a company like that. So we've tried to bring in enough lines, and we're fortunate enough to have a boss that allows us to put the inventory into place, that allows us to have really a line that goes from the weekend warrior right up through a production shop. The lines that have been selling the best, Sean's right, Fine Multimaster, with Fine just repricing their blades to be more competitive with all those knockoffs he was speaking of, really helps. Craig has done really, really well this past year with the Craig jig. The homeowners, the weekend warriors, again, are really into that tool. The last year or so, we've tried to concentrate on our converted sanding belts and stuff for the commercial shops. We're surrounded by, well, what they tell me is a $5 million business in the sanding belt industry, and we didn't have a big piece of it in the commercial shops. So we've really kind of focused on that a little bit as well.
So it sounds like product lines are a large part of being competitive with the other stores in your area. What other ways do you differentiate your store from the competition? Sean, can you elaborate?
Yeah, as I thought about that question, I thought of several things, how we would differentiate from the competition. One way, I think that perhaps we're a bit different, at least than the big boxes around here, is that there's 9 of us men here in the tool department, and 8 of us have at one time worked in the construction field. So that helps us be able to know a little more about the tool, and also answer application questions when customers ask, what do you recommend I do here when I'm building this deck, and so forth. And along with what Tom is saying, we typically have focused on contractor business. We've started stocking less expensive brands for the price-conscious do-it-yourselfer. And also we try to focus on customer service, getting what the customer needs. For example, a customer might come in and want a pipe wrench jaw. We may not stock it, but it's in a pipe wrench on the shelf, so we'll take it out of the pipe wrench and reorder a jaw. Or perhaps it's a cordless tool that we don't stock. We can take it out of a kit and sell it to them to get the customer on their way. We also have a tool repair department here, repairs and services most things that we sell, and also a warranty department for several brands that we sell. And those things give us an edge over somewhere like Home Depot or Amazon, which doesn't have the repair departments. I was just asking the guys this morning, I said, what am I supposed to say here? And they said, well, we have employees that work as a team. And that's one thing I really appreciate about the guys here. And one other thing is that this past September, we put a contractor salesman on the road who goes out 2 days a week. And as he goes out, he delivers to the contractors.
All right, so it sounds like you have a lot of different plans with how to be competitive, whether it's being flexible to the customer or having a lot of knowledge on your staff. Tom, how do you differentiate from your competition?
We try to have what the customer wants. We, again, are fortunate that we stock a lot more than most people have the ability to stock. We've got plenty of warehouse and storage space around here. We try to keep the quantity on hand as accurate as possible. Nothing's any more frustrating to a customer to call up, ask if you have something, which one of our competitors does this a lot. Oh, yeah, we have it, and the customer gets there, and oh, no, we don't. So we try to keep our computer as accurate as we can with our quantity on hand. Always makes the customers really satisfied when you actually have what you say you have. We pay attention to what our competitors are pricing things at. We try to be extremely competitive where we need to be, but where we can make the margins and the points, we try to make the margins and the points. It seems to really differentiate us from the others.
I know we had also talked about your delivery service. Can you expand on how you are able to deliver to so many people?
We have a delivery fleet of approximately 26, 28 trucks, I believe. The trucks are ever changing. We've got 5 or 6 boom trucks for the big lumber loads. We've got I think 3 or 4 trucks now with Moffats on the back, which a year ago I believe we had 1, and then all the rest are just dry vans, box trucks. But we deliver a 150-mile radius of Keim lumber, which I don't know if you're familiar with Charm, Ohio, but it's the middle of nowhere. We'll deliver a 150-mile radius free of charge. A couple of years ago, we as employees thought, well, that's probably going to change when fuel prices spiked and when surcharges were put on everything we purchased, and it never changed. We thought it would tighten up. It didn't. He kept it the same, and I think that's part of the reason for our success over the last few years. He, as in Bill Keim, didn't change those policies. He kept them in place. So if a customer 149 miles from Keim Lumber calls up and orders a saw blade, it's going to be on the next truck that way.
Okay, and that's a way to beat the other stores and the other big boxes in your area.
The big boxes can't they don't really offer us a delivery, and if they do, you're paying for it. Mm-hmm. And then it's if and when you ever get it. Mm-hmm. The other thing is with the big boxes, we use this all the time, as I'm sure Sean will tell you. The fact that we repair it here is the difference between us and the big boxes. If you take a tool back to the big box, you may never see that tool again. You stick it in a box and mail it someplace, you'll never know if you're going to get that tool back, or it's just a struggle. Having been a contractor myself, I can tell you that when you take something back into a box store for warranty work, you never know. You just never know.
Okay. Well, kind of going into that same question, how does Keim Lumber and Paul B. Hardware stay price competitive but also stay profitable? And Tom, if you can tell us a little bit of what Keim Lumber does.
We have to be realistic on our pricing. We have what we call pole barns around us. We've got some Amish guys that have pole barns and no overhead with some lines. How they ever got the lines, I'm not sure, but they've got them. We have to know that they've got those and be extremely competitive on those lines, and then make our margins and our points on the items that we can.
Okay, and I know because with the expansion that you've had in the recent years, you're able to put in more products. So do you try to sell more on volume?
We do on the price competitive stuff. A classic example is if I can get my hands on a good deal today, I'll try to buy as many of them as I think I can possibly sell in 6 months. We'll go for it. We'll bring them in. We'll try to be a little bit conscious on the retail, just be a little bit under maybe what everybody else is doing, and just try to turn the volume on that item. Be satisfied with the points that we make on it, and instead of trying to sell. I had a competitor call me one time complaining about what I was selling a table saw at, and I asked him how many he had sold. He told me he had sold 5 of them, and we were making $150 less than he was, but I had been through 50 of them.
Oh, okay.
So,
So Keim Lumber is willing to drop the price down, but you guys will also try to sell more of the product.
We'll try to pass a good deal that we could purchase on to our end user customers. We'll try to pass that on. We'll be satisfied with the margins that we make and try to sell twice as many as everybody else.
Okay. Sean, how does Paul B. Hardware stay price competitive while being profitable?
Well, with what Tom said, I basically ditto that. I thought we were unique here in the sense of those pole barns that he was speaking of, but we have them here, and so it's some very price competitive shops around here. And so, yeah, we have to keep one ear to the ground to make sure we know, try to make sure we know what we're up against. Some things that we try to do is put kits together. For example, we buy Makita 4-piece kits, and then we'll get a bare tool separate and get a good deal on it, and then we'll make a 5-piece kit out of it and sell it like that. The competition perhaps doesn't always have the 5-piece kits, and also we, as Tom mentioned, we try to those popular items, keep them low, and make money where we can. For example, a tight market is air compressors, gas-powered air compressors. Sometimes we need to pay the freight, and we just really don't have much room there. But then on the air compressor accessories, fittings, and so forth, there's much more room there. And here in our store, we have a parts department, and that channels into the tool department somewhat because the parts department is selling a lot to wholesale, to dealers, like sprockets and belts and pulleys, and drill bits, air compressor accessories. They all fall into the wholesalers' discounts. And so the markup is higher on those items. It allows for that discount for the wholesaler and for the walk-in customer, the contractor as well. We make more money there.
Okay. What kind of trends have you two been noticing in the tool business? We talked a little bit about products, but when it comes to consumers and what they're expecting, what trends have you been seeing lately? Sean, if you'd like to start.
Sure. Well, certainly with the recession, contractors aren't stocking up nearly as heavily as they did 3 to 4 years ago. We've noticed this with our year-end sale. They're just not getting as many nails and so on as they used to. Go for the next job or two, and that's all they need. Also, more online competition, more price checking. However, we've tried to be sensitive to not reduce our inventory too much. Where we could afford it, we did, but we still try to have a good amount here so that we can, as Tom mentioned, have what the customer needs when they come in. Also, I think some customers have been more likely to repair their tools instead of buying a new one. And so those are some trends that we've been noticing. Okay.
Tom, what about you? I know Keim Lumber has an extensive online shopping area. What is that a big trend you've noticed, and what else have you been noticing?
The online has been growing daily and weekly for us. Not a big piece of the puzzle yet, but it's a fairly new thing for us. Trends we've noticed is the homeowner's trying to tackle more than he ever has before. A homeowner's willing to try the tile job himself now. A homeowner's going to try to put in the hardwood floor himself instead of hiring the contractor. That's the biggest, I think, change we've seen is homeowners attempting to do more on their own. There's homeowners asking more questions on how to do things than ever before. Homeowners are really involved these days with the internet, so they'll come in fairly knowledgeable on tools, on tool pricing, on their project that they want to do. So it's kind of a challenge. It's a challenge for us here, especially to keep up with that. You know, a lot of you don't know this, but my tool department is predominantly made up of Amish guys that don't have the luxury of going home at night and jumping on the TV and seeing what's going on or watching the computer at home. It's all done here at work. So we have to stay kind of at the edge of what are the homeowners doing these days, what are they looking for, but they're the biggest trend changers at the moment.
Okay. And how do you keep your employees up to date and keep them trained so they are able to help these homeowners?
I bomb them with paper every day. We just try to keep a constant paper flow going to the guys with trends, with magazines. The supervisor of the sales floor is Amish. He's actually sitting in the room listening to us. This is how we try to communicate extremely well. The tool guys, there's 4 guys at the tool counter every morning. There's 4 or 5 guys back in the service center every morning. And I try to take a few minutes each morning and we talk about what went on yesterday, what did somebody ask for yesterday that we didn't have. We try to just communicate exceptionally well between us.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on. What advice would you give home improvement retailers who want to increase their sales in these departments? Tom, if you'd like to go ahead.
The only thing I can honestly tell them is beat the pavement if you can for the deals. You've got to try to find the deals these days. I'm very fortunate. Most of you people know Larry Summers at Hartville. I do communicate with Larry every now and then. We run into each other at the Do It Best shows. We usually communicate to what each of us are seeing and finding. Hartville's the kind of competition that you like to have. They've got an electric bill just like we do. Again, it's back to those pole barns that are tough. But you've got to find deals. You've got to find the reps that are willing to work with you. If a deal's no good for the rep, in the long term, it's not going to be any good for you. Because you're, A, not going to be able to get it back again, and B, you're probably not going to have that rep much longer. You've got to try to find a happy ground where you can get the best deal you can. I've got a couple of reps that have been in this business a long, long time, and they pretty much know when it's a deal. I can tell by the way they walk in my door if it's a deal I want to purchase or it's one they're just plugging it because they have to.
Okay. Sean, do you have any advice for other retailers?
Yeah, I would say advertise. If it's a new product, if it's a good deal, make sure it's advertised. Also, as Tom was speaking earlier about volume and discounts, that's something we try to latch on here in our nail department. 5 boxes of nails gets you 10% off. So at our year-end sale, 5 boxes of nails or more gets you 10%, an additional 10%. And I already mentioned about making kits, putting kits together that maybe not other people have and trying to sell things and get an edge that way. All
right. And Sean, what is your secret to success in your hand and power tool departments?
That's a good question. As I talked that over this morning with my manager, and we wondered, well, what is that? But then I don't know if we really have a secret per se. I thought about when Paul B. Zimmerman began doing welding repairs in 1947. He soon started stocking bolts, and I don't think he ever imagined, well, I know he didn't, where it would be today, and he's since passed on. But we thought about that not too long ago, I think it was a year ago, that a large hardware store within about half an hour of here burned to the ground. It was New Year's Day or Christmas Day last year, I believe, maybe 2 years ago. That could be us tomorrow. So we want to give God the credit over the years for all that has gone on one day at a time. And also, as we've tried to do what God wants, we've also tried to get what the customers need. I heard Tom saying that, and we echo that. Very often, a common scenario which happens here in our store, we'll see a lady wandering around, and we'll say, "Can I help you?" And she'll say, "No, I'm just looking for my husband." And men often say, I hear it oftentimes, "I feel like a kid in the candy store." So, and that the key to that feeling or that attitude from our customers, I believe, is variety. It's been said, if Paul B doesn't sell it, you don't need it. Now that's not true. I know that's exaggerated, but that's the attitude that some customers have. And but I don't think that listeners should be discouraged if they don't have the variety. Or if they don't have the capital available to get that variety. I think customer service is another key. I don't know if it's a secret, but it's a key. We have bi-monthly leadership training for mid-level management like myself, and we have quarterly customer service training for everyone in the store. Topics such as upselling and other things like shoplifting and so on. And we try to have what the customers need, give them the benefit of the doubt, and go the second mile.
All right, great. Tom, do you have some secret to success you'd like to share?
There's really no secrets in the hand and power tool business that I know of. John's exactly right. We've been very blessed around here the last few years with the way the economy and the way trends have been and the way our business has grown. And this year in particular, it's growing again, leaps and bounds, especially in tools. We really try to listen to our customers, whether it's a homeowner or whether it's the commercial production wood shops. We try to listen to them. We try to get what they want. We have customers coming in asking for things that I just, quite frankly, cannot buy. I can't get. it's something that's exclusively available on the internet, or we try. If the customers come in, if a customer comes in and asks for one thing, do we run right out and buy it? No, but we research to try to figure out, well, do we need that? Are there other people looking for that? We like to try different things. We like to try to move things around. Sometimes there's items that you've got them on the shelf in the aisle, and you really can't figure out why that item isn't selling. Trust me, just move it. Just try it at a different location. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Okay, well, kind of along those lines, we've had a couple questions during the webinar, and a question from Bob Beck says, should my monthly sale end cap be in the same location, or should he move it to adjacent to the like product? So what advice do you have for them when it comes to those specific merchandising ideas? Either Tom or Sean.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. I don't know what to say other than what we do here. And the reason that we keep ours in the same place month after month is because it's right inside the front door and also right beside the checkout, the cash registers there, which seems like a good spot for it.
Okay. Another question we had is from Jake Wasco from Wasco Hardware. He was wondering if the bare tools from DeWalt went over well with do-it-yourselfers or contractors. Do you guys carry the bare tools line from DeWalt?
Can I answer that one, Sean?
Sure, go right ahead.
I was one of the ones that was beating on DeWalt for about a year and a half for a bare tool only program. DeWalt had come in and asked me why our cordless numbers were up so much in an economy that was such a downturn. I showed him the bare tool table that we had from DeWalt that was all kits that we broke up, like Sean was speaking of. To this day, we still do not buy DeWalt bare tool only. DeWalt was great in bringing out that bare tool program. The problem was they didn't price it right. And to be competitive for DeWalt to be competitive with Makita and Milwaukee, you pretty much have to buy the kits and break them up yourself. It's really the only way to get the end user satisfied. Our DeWalt bare tool table is probably 2 years old now. It's just as strong today as it was 2 years ago, and it is a wide variety of customers. Some days a contractor will come in that's never been here before, and he picks 6, 8, 10 things off that table. Other days it's just a homeowner. I've been looking for just that tool only. So that DeWalt program, it was nice of DeWalt to bring the tool only program, but they didn't price it right.
Okay. We have another question from Bob Beck. He says, I have a small tool area compared to a competitor down the street. What mix of tools should I have? Do you have any advice for him when it comes to choosing the right product lines for his store?
Go ahead, Tom.
I probably could, but I need to know what demographics he's dealing with. You know, is he dealing with strictly homeowners? Is he surrounded by these production shops like I am? If he's dealing basically with walk-in homeowner type customers, I think he needs to look at the woodworking tools, the smaller jet type stuff. That is the combination units. One joiner planer combination unit, very price point oriented tool that takes up very little room in his store. If he's looking like I have one manufacturer, Makita. We have 16 feet of Makita, I believe. I mean, a smaller place is going to have trouble doing that. We're heavy woodworking, so Makita hammer drills don't do well for us. You know, there's certain pieces on the Makita, the new planograms that they just come out with. They're nice looking, but they're just not what we need. We asked Makita to change it. We actually changed it to a heavier Makita woodworking thing. So it's all in knowing your customers. If Bob wants to give us an idea of what his customers are, we could really help him, I think.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that would probably give him some ideas. We have another question from Jill Lindberg. It says, should I display similar brands together, such as DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, or by type, like a circular saw, grinder, or drill? What do you guys do in your stores?
Well, we're kind of in transition here, actually. In the past, we have displayed all cordless together. For example, all Makita cordless together, all DeWalt cordless together. But then in electric tools, we've displayed the grinders together, all brands, circular saws together, all brands. However, hearing what Tom was saying with the 16-foot of Makita, we've been considering some options like that as well. And that would mean that most or a lot of Makita would be together, and then other brands would be separate. What do you think, Tom?
We've been struggling with this ourselves because our store, when we opened the new store in '07, we went to what we considered to be the yellow wall, the red wall. All the Porter cable was together, all the Makita was together, and today it's pretty much still that way. We've got it by manufacturer. In our area, and this is just our area, but the contractors, the builders, the framers use yellow. The plumbers and the electricians, typically red guys. The homeowners, the farmers around us are heavy into the Makita. So it just seems these days that when a customer comes in the door and wants a grinder, he pretty much knows when he walks in the door he wants a red one or a yellow one or whatever he wants. Now, are we doing it the right way? I don't know. We've had this discussion amongst the 12 of us from time to time as far as do we put all the grinders together. In some of the other areas of the store, we do have, all the tape measures are together, regardless of whose it is. But it seems like in the power tools, we just don't do that.
All right. Well, we don't have any more questions as of right now, so I'd like to thank Tom and Sean for joining us today and sharing their knowledge of their departments. This webinar will be available on nrha.org, so if you'd like to listen to a recording, we'll have it there. Otherwise, my contact information is on the screen, so feel free to contact me anytime with questions. Thank you for joining us today, and look forward to the next webinar coming up in a few weeks.